Sergeant Lyra Hain had faced down hostile fleets, negotiated with alien warlords, and survived 3 tours in the Outer Rim without breaking a sweat. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared her for the chaos that 2 juvenile Cravathi predators could unleash on forward operating Base Meridian. It started innocently enough. Lyra had been conducting her morning security sweep, her favorite pair of aviator sunglasses perched on her nose, despite the dim, artificial lighting of the station. The shades were vintage earth, a gift from her grandfather before he passed. They made her feel invincible, even in the cold vacuum of space. She'd set them down for just a moment while inspecting a cargo manifest in Bay 7. 1 moment. That was all it took. When she turned back, they were gone. Damn it, she muttered, scanning the area. The bay was empty except for stacked supply crates and the faint hum of environmental processors. Or so she thought. A chittering sound echoed from behind a container marked medical supplies. Fragile. Lyra's hand instinctively moved to her sidearm as she crept forward. What emerged wasn't a security threat, at least not the conventional kind. 2 sets of luminous yellow eyes stared up at her from the shadows. Rock and Tin, the Cravathi ambassador's cubs, sat side by side like twin statues of mischief. And perched crookedly on Rock's elongated snout were her sunglasses. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," Lyra said. Rock tilted his head, the sunglasses sliding down his face. His 4-clawed paw reached up to adjust them with surprising dexterity. Beside him, Tin chirped excitedly, clearly jealous of his sibling's new accessory. The Cravathi were apex predators from a death world 3 sectors away, scaled, 6-limbed creatures with razor-sharp teeth and reflexes that could put a viper to shame. Full-grown adults stood 8 feet tall and commanded respect through sheer presence alone. But these cubs, they were barely waist-high, still learning to control their retractable claws and prone to treating the military base like their personal playground. "Give those back," Lyra ordered, crouching down to their level. Rock chittered again, a sound the translator implant in Lyra's ear rendered as something between laughter and defiance. Then he did something that made her freeze. He straightened his posture, puffed out his chest, and began walking in an exaggerated stride that she recognized immediately. It was her patrol walk, the confident, no-nonsense gait she'd perfected over years of service. Tin scrambled after his brother, mimicking the movement with slightly less grace but equal enthusiasm. "Oh no," Lyra whispered. "What have I done?" By hour 3, the entire base knew about the situation. Rock and Tin had appointed themselves unofficial security officers. Still wearing the sunglasses, they'd figured out how to swap them between patrols. The cubs marched through corridors with the gravitas of seasoned veterans. They stopped at every checkpoint, inspected cargo with exaggerated sniffs, and even attempted to salute passing officers with their front claws. Private Chen nearly dropped his breakfast tray when Rock planted himself in front of the mess hall entrance, crossed his upper arms, and refused to let anyone pass without what appeared to be a thorough visual inspection. "Sergeant Hain," Commander Velis called over the comm system, his voice strained with suppressed amusement. "Your deputies are blocking access to the armory. Again." Lyra found them standing guard outside the weapons cache, Tin wearing the sunglasses this time. They'd somehow acquired a datapad, probably stolen from engineering, and were taking turns tapping at it with their claws, pretending to log entries. "Guys, come on," Lyra said, approaching slowly. "You can't just—" Rock chirped sharply and pointed at her with one claw, then at a sign that read "Authorized personnel only." "I am authorized personnel." The cubs exchanged glances. Tin tapped the datapad again, made a show of studying it, then shook his head with exaggerated sadness. Behind her, Lyra heard muffled laughter from the guard station. Even the typically stoic Lieutenant Vex was grinning. "This is a nightmare," Lyra muttered. The breaking point came during the ambassador's diplomatic dinner that evening. Ambassador Kratha, a towering female Cravathi with silver-tipped scales, had invited the station's senior staff to a formal meal. It was meant to strengthen the alliance between humanity and the Cravathi Dominion, critical given the brewing tensions with the Zorthian Empire. Lyra stood at attention in her dress uniform, trying to maintain professionalism, while knowing that somewhere on this station, 2 juvenile predators were running around with her grandfather's sunglasses. Then the doors to the dining hall burst open. Rock and Tin strutted in, the sunglasses now resting on Rock's snout once more. But they weren't alone. Behind them marched a procession of 6 junior officers, humans, all trying desperately to keep straight faces, who had apparently been recruited by the Cubs during their patrol rounds. The Cubs approached the head table where Ambassador Kratha sat, executed what could only be described as attempted salutes, and presented the datapad they'd been carrying all day. Kratha studied it, her massive eyes narrowing. Then impossibly her jaw split into what Lyra had learned to recognize as a Cravathi smile. "They have documented 17 security violations," the ambassador announced, her voice a deep rumble, "including 3 humans who failed to properly secure cargo, 1 who left his post early and 2 who attempted to smuggle extra dessert rations from the mess hall." The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Lyra stepped forward. "Ambassador, I apologize for—" Kratha raised a clawed hand for silence. "Sergeant Hayne, your species never ceases to amaze me. In attempting to retrieve your personal effects, you have accidentally trained my offspring in the art of vigilance and duty." She reached down and gently removed the sunglasses from Rock's snout, then stood and crossed the room to Lyra. "They learned this from watching you," Kratha said, placing the sunglasses in Lyra's hands. "You embody what we Cravathi value most: strength through observation, wisdom through action, and the courage to stand guard even when no one is watching." She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper only Lyra could hear. "And between you and me, Sergeant, they have never been so well behaved. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it." Lyra looked down at Rock and Tin, who sat at attention, their tails curled proudly around their haunches. Then she looked at her sunglasses, still slightly warm from their small adventure. With a smile, she folded them carefully and tucked them into her pocket. "Tell you what, Ambassador," Lyra said, raising her voice so the Cubs could hear, "how about we make this official? Deputy Security Officers Rock and Tin report for duty at 0600 tomorrow." The Cubs' eyes lit up like twin stars, and their excited chittering filled the hall. Commander Velis leaned over to Lieutenant Vex. "She just recruited Predator Cubs onto her security team." Vex nodded solemnly. "Very human thing to do, sir." "Indeed," Velis agreed, raising his glass. "Indeed it is, and so, Forward Operating Base Meridian became the first station in the galaxy to officially employ Cravathi Cubs as part of its security force, all because a human sergeant lost her sunglasses and taught 2 young predators that sometimes the best way to understand someone is to walk a mile in their shoes, or in this case, wear their shades."